in the financial figuring.
And I think there should be a nice, good business 101, right?
Yes.
But which a coach such as yourself that's going to point out different things that to help them make those big, good business decisions. But I think as much as I want that wand and dream, I don't think it's reality, because I think when we're talking about, I'll go back to the small business owner. They're scrappy. Right?
Yes.
They make stuff happen.
Yes.
It's a unique breed,
very
right?
Scrappy.
But I don't mean that in a condescending way.
No, that's why we love them, right?
That's why we love them, really.
Yeah.
And it's job security for me, because I think, that I always love that wonderful book, The One Thing, right? Focusing on that one thing that's going to give you the most productivity. Right, that one thing is going to give you the most success, and that's what the entrepreneur. That's the fire underneath a business, and then yet there's a lack of that on the accounting side, right? And that's where I really see us escalating and giving that. It's like putting gas on the fire, right? Giving the fire a little bit more gas, a little more visibility. How can we grow this business and have that strategy that kind of. And there's a couple of my clients where I really feel like I'm hurting cats a little bit. And it's trying to keep him focused.
Sure.
One way. Let's worry about this first. And then, but no.
Right.
No, we got to worry about this first. So I would love a perfect platform that everyone has to have accounting 101 before they can get a business license. That would be really
that would
helpful.
probably be a great way to do it. Sure.
But then look at its scalability too. I think with small businesses, they reach, and that's why my perfect client I really see is, that 800,000 in revenue and above.
You bet.
Because there's a early on, they're just getting it done.
Right.
Just getting it done, and then suddenly, if you're hitting that spot in your revenue, you got business. There's potential there. There's a need, right? And you're starting to see that now. It's about getting smart.
Well, and I think that when you're in that mosh pit, right, and they're trying to just get it done. I think that's what makes it so easy too. I'm going back to the statement that you've made. I think it's really easy then to embezzle that money, because you're so busy, being, the two things for the entrepreneur really is the only two things, is to be the architect of the future and the guardian of the mood of your company. So if you're just doing those two things, you're so busy, looking ahead and directing where the company's going, that you don't want to have to utilize, just being blunt, brain space on worrying about if Bob or Sally is doing your books right, because it's a whole nother, especially the laws just changed drastically, did they not, for this year? Our tax laws. And so finding someone that can actually speak to what you're creating, and we already know. Okay, this is the year to buy a car. If you're going to buy a car, or if you're this is the year to lease one. Don't buy. Or this is the year that you want to buy office equipment. Don't you?
Absolutely.
And that's another value, that by having an expert really on your team that can come in and say, okay, do you do that? Do you do strategy meetings with your clients at the beginning of the year?
So when you're talking about a lot of the tax structure and tax planning, and especially when you're talking about entity formation, we leave that to the CPAs.
Okay, that's fair.
And we stay in our lane, because I am not a tax expert. I only play one on TV.
Right.
So
that's awesome.
That's great.
So we had a client that's going through a restructure and bringing in some partners, and he, of course, he was approaching me with all these questions. I said, "Nope, you need to go to the CPA. Nope, you need to go to CPA." Okay, oh yeah, I'll get there. Well, they wanted to close the deal in 10 days, and finally I said, "No, you got to go talk to the CPA." And of course, they went to talk to CPA. The CPA is like, "Yeah, they're not doing it right. There's tax exposure there."
Ooh.
So it's like, thank you. Now, but again. What I like to be for my client is I like to be the resource, right? I might not have all the answers.
Sure.
And I don't have all the answers, but I can always point them in the right direction to have those trusted advisors. A business coach, for instance, have those trusted advisors, having that CPA, that lawyer, those type of individuals that I can connect them with, that we have good relationships, can really guide them in the right direction. So be that advocate.
Mm-hmm. That's what Bill does a lot of.
He does? Oh, yeah.
Pulling out his magic wand.
Yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with my magic wand.
That's what
Bill's
she
wanting
said.
to see several industries changed.
Well, yeah,
So,
I think that it's
know.
really unique because a lot of businesses don't understand that. They get involved, and you're right. At the beginning, I've got to eat. I've got to pay the rent and all that. So I'm going to shelve that over and just keep my fingers crossed in April that I've been blessed from the gods up above, and the IRS is not taking my car, house, children, and the rest of it.
Well, I think you run into trouble with all that type of nonsense when you're always looking on how can I not pay? I find it's a privilege. I do. I can't help it. I think, it's a privilege because the very first step in a
Speak
business...
up, please. The IRS is listening.
Yeah, that's not
please.
a problem.
Would you please?
Well, but when you think about it, it's a privilege for a business to first and foremost, on their very first financial goal, is to be able to pay state taxes.
Yep.
I mean, because that right there tells you I'm profitable enough, or I'm making enough money that now I have to pay taxes. You should go buy yourself a great dinner, drink a glass of wine, and celebrate the fact that we're growing. Spoke to a developer, and he was whining because his tax bill, was over $1 million. And I'm like, but that's a privilege because it's all relative. And it's relative. If you weren't making this kind of money, then you wouldn't. Mind you, he did end up having their bookkeeper, accountant, had embezzled over $400,000.
Whoa.
So, because, we're too busy out here doing our own thing, and then, yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. But the fact of the matter is that, Jason, you so eloquently put up there, trust is so important. And really, as an owner, you should inspect what you expect. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's offensive if you think that there's something going on, to have an outside person come in, audit the books. I'm a firm believer in things like that. It just keeps everybody honest. Honest people, there's no worry. Dishonest people will start sweating bullets, right? I mean, because there's other issues, and I don't think we need to hide everything, for heaven's sakes. I mean, it's the process. We still live in the greatest nation in the world to me, although I do love to visit outside the country. We still have, we still have the availability to make money. I don't have to have somebody breathing down my neck, and I can create what I feel like I want to. So, Jason, I want to pick up the phone and give you a call. My company is making over $800,000 a year, and we need your help. How do we contact you?
You would pick up that phone, and you would dial 206-401-9186.
9186.
And that's not limited to $800,000 a year either, is it?
Absolutely not. It's really, I was listening to your wonderful podcast earlier, and you're talking about knowing what's your perfect client.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That I've identified as my perfect client. However,
Right.
I have clients that are smaller than that. But again, they have that yonder star of
That's
where they're
right.
going to go.
Sure.
And they have a good plan. And if, I have to believe in every one of my clients.
Absolutely.
Even when I started early on, I'll take you. But
Sure.
now it's like, okay, I gotta connect.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta connect because I only want to work with people I want to work with.
Yes, that's the bottom line.
Right?
Yeah.
And then again, if I see that and I believe in what they're doing, absolutely. That's where you want to be. That means you need to scale to get there. So let's put the right processes in place now. That's going to help you get there. Mm-hmm. So,
Certainly makes
excellent
sense.
point, Mr. Producer.
Well,
Jason, thank you for being on our show.
Very
It's
much.
always such a
Back.
pleasure.
Yes.
I mean, I always learn something. Your smile is always infectious. I love that beautiful smile.
Thank you.
And I love what value you bring to not only our community, but the value you are to humanity. So,
Wow.
thank you.
you're
Thank
done
you.
with your last word. I'm so excited. I didn't have to introduce
I
you or
wrapped
anything.
it right up in a bow for
Well,
you.
you did a beautiful job. Yeah, you're fired.
Yeah.
Now then, moving right along.
Okay, Mr. Trump.
Or do we,
Yes, you'll
do you
get your
need-
check when they go back to
Fired.
work. Yes.
You're getting a haircut.
Okay, now that the show has been disrupted and thrown off track again, I'd like to tell you all thank you so much for being here. We enjoyed the show. I hope we gave you a little bit of information.
And share our show with your friends,
Sure.
family, cousins, nephews.
and all
you
that
know.
good stuff. And remember, keep us smiling.